John Smoltz, who shares a birthday with me on the call for the Padres Dodgers. Now we got Game 5 in L.A. coming up tomorrow. Explain the Dodgers pitching strategy last night, John, because I likened it to a jigsaw puzzle or Rubik's Cube where Dave Roberts had to make all of that work and somehow did last night.
Yeah, they're limited, right? They put a roster together that's supposed to have a great pitching staff, and that's been beat up. So they got to the postseason, best record, all the pressure in the world on them, and then they really don't have a game for starters. So I've always said in a vacuum, you could do it one time. It's hard to do it all the time. You just need one guy to mess up, but give them credit. Every single guy came in. The score was lopsided. He stood with those guys, even though he could have gone a different direction. And I think part of it is he didn't want the Padres to get any momentum, any rally, anything going, so that Game 5 is a total different, atmosphere now, even though everyone knows the Padres offense can explode. So he did a great job last night, and so did the bullpen.
Normally, it used to come down to starting pitching. It doesn't anymore. What do you think Game 5 comes down to?
Well, Game 5 in elimination, winner take all, always comes down to the shortest leash for starters. So whatever starter goes longer, you think puts that team in a better chance to be successful. Look, the Mets have had great starting pitching. They've moved on. You've got teams that are trying to, like the Tigers, they're at every game is a miracle game. They've been playing momentum baseball. We've seen this new playoff format put a lot of stress on the teams that have had rest. Their offense doesn't get going. There's a lot of things in the mix. And for the Dodgers, really, Game 5 comes down to, can they do the things in the top of their lineup, whether Freddie's in there or not, to match what the Padres have done in the first 3 innings? It's been a simple formula. Padres explode early, they win. And last night they didn't.
Yeah, you know that atmosphere, I thought, in San Diego. I mean, that was. Can you maybe compare another atmosphere that you had in San Diego these last 2 games?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly. You're right.
They were. This is a stand all the time. It doesn't matter what the score is. Something's a rally. 2-0 counts a rally. And I've said in the postseason, the teams that handle the cleanest innings and don't allow some hiccup. Rallies were starting with 2-out walks. They were starting with a walk. So I love it. I think San Diego's atmosphere, LA will be raucous. I mean, these two teams don't like each other. It's well known. And they're now kind of sparking this rivalry because they're both good. I can make the argument that the San Diego Padres have the deepest roster and maybe the best roster in the postseason. But now they're going to have to find a way on the road to get by the Dodgers.
A better chance of making a mistake to Bonds and not paying for it, or Otani?
Bonds was in an unbelievable world of his own. But what Otani's done now is early Bonds would steal a base and make you pay for walking around him. Otani will steal a couple bases, right? He'll just absolutely beat you on the path. So they've shown, and he's shown, that he is vulnerable to certain pitches. But here's the problem in the game today. There's a few pitchers that can go 3 times to that spot. We've got such a max effort and great stuff, but every hitter today is looking for that one mistake. And when Otani gets it, you may not get it back.
And you bring up a great point. I brought this up earlier. I sound like the guy who says, get off my lawn. If I was developing pitching or looking for pitching, I want to see somebody who can, give me legitimate velocity, but has location and movement. If you give me that, I'll let you throw 100. I don't care. Yeah. But if you give me location and movement, and that's what I don't understand, and we're not going to be developing these pitchers because everybody's throwing 100. You got to throw 100. And
yes,
I mean, that's, to me, God, I would love to have those kind of pitchers.
Well, rule changes will come again to effectively change that again. When you think about the way the game is operated, look, I understand it's harder to hit today than ever before because velocity is at an all-time high.
But what rule changes are you talking about?
there'll be pitching rule changes that'll change the philosophy to get you more towards what you're saying. Because if I'm having every pitcher break down and we're having this epidemic of pitching injuries, organizational philosophy is not going to change unless there's a rule change. And that could be anywhere from, tie in your starting pitcher to the DH to roster manipulations that don't happen. You can only have so many relievers on a team. There's ways to affect the game, no different than 2 years ago. But your point is well taken, because if I don't have to teach a guy command and I just have to teach him how to throw that nasty stuff in that box, then the hitting styles are going to stay the same. Swing for the fences, hope to connect, and you're only going to find a few elite pitchers that can throw a ball in the area that gets a pitcher out, gets a hitter out. A well-placed pitch still gets a hitter out. But it is the kind of philosophy that we're dealing with, and right now it takes more pitchers in a game to do that.
Talking to John Smoltz. John will be on the call Friday night. That'll be back in L.A. Game time is 8 Eastern on Fox. Are the Mets a good team, great team, or team of destiny?
I think they're a team of destiny. You could make a statement that this good team, which is on a great run, believes in itself, that after 2 months of the season, it looked horrible and they stood the course. And I really got to give them credit. That leadership inside and management took a hard look and saying, what direction are we going? Many people maybe complained that they didn't go out and make a whole lot of moves before spring training was over. But what they did is establish themselves in the pitching rotation. Again, it comes down to a healthy starting rotation that now looks pretty good. And a team that has gone through the gamut. You cannot have that roadmap and predicted they would be in this spot going to 163. Well, in essence, an extra day after the season playing a doubleheader. So I give them a lot of credit. That town's going to be on fire. They've been waiting a long time. And you've got really two teams kind of mirroring each other between the Padres, build it up, tear it down, Mets, spend all kinds of, tear it down. And now look where both of those clubs are back with a chance to go to the World Series.
I know that they're not must-see TV, but the Tigers are a fun, and I know you grew up a Tiger fan. It's fun to see, and Skubal might be the best pitcher in baseball. If they get to a game 5, then he'll be pitching. But just to see that, I mean, it's weird because you're like, oh, the starting pitcher is still in the game, John. It just does. I mean, he's that good that he's breaking the mold of what we have with starting pitchers now.
He is that good. He pitches off his fastball. He's a big, strong, down the hill, good mechanics. It's refreshing, and it's one of the things that they said they were not going to do is trade him. They traded other pieces. This was not supposed to be their year. I know I've done a few events in Lansing, Michigan, and they asked me, how far are the Tigers away? I said, they're not that far. And they're like, really? This was 2 months ago. I said, I think they're building something special over there. AJ Hinch's done a nice job. He's got them to believe. And it seems like they're just burning the candle at both ends, trying to get just one win. And they're finding ways to do it. You might not have some wholesale names yet, but you're starting to develop some of that, and their bullpen's been great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Aaron Judge is probably going to the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done, but he is not a good postseason performer. He's batting 200. He's striking out every third time in postseason. How does that? I know there are certain guys who just do well in the postseason, maybe not in the regular season. But how do you explain Aaron Judge struggling?
Yeah, I would say the attention and the over magnified approach to Aaron Judge is going to be hyper focused in the postseason. When every starter or every pitcher gets the scorecard, the lineup card, and they circle Aaron Judge, they don't pitch him that way in the regular season. It's too long of a season. He's facing too many different pitchers. He's a great hitter that when he gets unlocked, I think will be able to handle what's coming at him because there's so much expected of him. The narratives in the postseason are like the worst things in the world if you're not able to put them aside and do your thing. And what I would say, not for everybody, and we know heartbeats are different. If you're mechanically sound at the postseason, the game's easier. If you're struggling, you're off, you're pressing, the game's harder. You're asked 10 times more about your mini slump than you would be in the regular season.
I have you, 5 career home runs, 3 career stolen bases, regular season?
And I got a couple in the postseason too.
Okay, of course. Could you see yourself as an Otani? Were you Otani? They just wouldn't let you be Otani when you were playing for the Braves.
That's a great question, Dan, and it's probably trending towards yes, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on the fact that I was not given that opportunity. In all seriousness, I hope this opens the door for more open-mindedness towards players who are talented, maybe not like him, but I root for him to stay healthy on the mound because people have yet to see how great this guy is on the mound. And hopefully he can show it over the next 5 years and stay healthy and avoid the injury.
Great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us. Safe travels.
My pleasure. Yep, same to you.
That's John Smoltz, Hall of Famer, World Series champ, won the Cy Young, and, of course, the lead analyst for Fox. They'll have their Game 5 coming up at Dodger Stadium on Friday night.